So, so I didn't say anything, but I also felt like did have some extra meetings and she's kind of doing these things that we didn't really budget in. Just so I was just like, do we need to?
Didn't we say that we have 11,000 in 26 budgets?
So yeah, we have for story map refinement, $5,000. So that's either in overages, phase two, or play money, or to use for marketing, and then set $6,700 for marketing. So we've got $11,000 for a project of sorts.
I would think that we
Hey,
could,
Steve.
if we offered them $500, they'd probably be thrilled.
Okay.
But let's get through the.
I won't say anything. I won't do anything like with that. I just want to.
But I want to finish the review of the story map. And then,
Steve, Ken and I are both at 602 Oak. So we're at Western Resilience Center.
oh, hey, Steve. So we could put that here.
This. We don't have a whole lot of partners.
Um,
I didn't have any, so I thought.
I want to, I don't want them to be part of the discussion. I want them to finish, leave, and then we can discuss it.
Okay. Yeah. Story maps before that. Yeah. So story maps number 5.
Yeah. So where do maybe like put in an 8B?
Oh, are you thinking about the overages? You mean that just yeah, we can have them. Yeah.
We're gonna recognize them.
Yeah.
Put on the agenda somewhere.
Yeah. So we'll ask for a agenda amendment.
Same thing. We can just call it.
Where is everybody, Steve?
I don't know.
I sent out the reminders. Lots of them.
Story.
You know, from between yesterday and today, a whole page is missing.
On the website?
Oh, what?
No, from the story map.
Oh, good. I'm not I'm not on the website because I was on the website. On the story map, maybe she's editing it or something. I don't know.
Oh, because see, you know how we talked yesterday about the Juniper project, those projects were slow loading.
Mhm.
Well, the Maybell ditch was on there yesterday, and today it's not. It's like completely gone. There's no mention of it.
Hmm.
So I don't know if she found a problem with that one and took it off or what.
I'm here.
Well, we'll find out. We're gonna find out.
Hi, Anna.
Hi. Found a new problem or a persistent same problem?
Oh, it's just something that was there, something that was there yesterday and is not there today.
Okay.
That
Well,
the Maybell ditch project was one of the ones we said was slow loading,
yeah,
It's not even on there today.
not even on there.
I mean, it was in the projects, and I thought it was above the City of Craig water park thing or whatever. I thought it was on there yesterday because I saw it when it eventually loaded, and today it's not a listed project.
It's there. I see it. If you go to table of contents, you can go right to it.
Yeah, let's see here. Do.
Okay, anybody else that we're expecting? We know we're expecting,
Kristen,
Kristen.
yeah, let's give her a minute, maybe. Because
Well, we could go ahead and start the meeting and run through the agenda, and hopefully she'll be there before we really get started on anything. All right, are we recording?
yeah.
We are. Okay, it is now 3:33 on January 7th. This is the Public Education Participation Outreach Meeting for the Ample White Green Table. Ken Brenner, I'm going to be the chair position today. And so I'm going to call the meeting to order. We are recording the meeting. We have an agenda that Sally has prepared for us. Sally, you want to run us through the agenda real quick, and then we'll see if there's any additions, corrections, or deletions,
I can find my,
and then we'll get an approval.
yeah, let me
Share that.
share it. Hold on, let me get it. That's not what second.
Looks like Kristen's here.
Yay.
Hi guys, sorry. I
Hey,
always
Kristen.
forget that this is not a Google Meet and I have to hunt down the Zoom link. And yet again, my camera is not working, so.
Okay, now you should see the agenda. Really?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, Sally's got our public comments. We'll go through the consent agenda, which will have our November minutes, and then an update on both our 25 PEPO grant as well as the 26 PEPO grant, which we just received in November. Then we'll have, actually, we're going to do the 26 second. We're going to do the story map first. Okay, that's okay. So then we'll go to the 26 PEPO grant, and then we're going to go into a discussion about these things at the top of this third page are for part of 6 continued. And then we go to 7 is Community Ag Alliance newspaper article dates. And then we want to talk about possible field trips. And then we're going to have upcoming events. And we'll have our partner updates. And then we've got to finish up in time for me to get back to the house in time for our 5 o'clock meeting. So we'll have I'll be a hard finish at about 10 till, if we haven't already. So any questions, any additions, deletions?
When are we approving the minutes?
Right away. That's first. It's first thing under the consent agenda.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
I would like to add one item. It'll be 6.4, and it'll be called Story Map Financials. And we need to talk about that for a minute. So other than that, there's nothing else, and we need a motion to approve the agenda as presented and amended.
So moved.
All right, Pinkfire.
Longer second.
Okay, thank you, Doug. Guys, good to hear from you. We need to talk, Doug. I got something that's pretty interesting. Anyway, all right, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Okay, great. Here we go. Public comment. Is there anybody here on public comment? Any item that's not on the agenda today? Public comment.
No emails.
No emails. All right. We look good. So we're going to go ahead and close public comment. We have a consent agenda. You'll see a link there to the November minutes. And then this is our status of our 2025 PEPO grants. Sally, why don't you go ahead and kind of summarize where we're at? Looks like we got a balance, not quite 2,000.
Patrick sent this over.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Can we ask questions on the minutes?
You bet.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay, so the two people that were listed at the end of the meeting, Doug Davis and Andy Rossi
Uh-huh.
aren't aren't listed as being at the meeting, but
Okay.
they're listed as making the motion and the second to adjourn the meeting. So I'm
Okay.
assuming
They must
they
have
probably came
came
in
on.
at the tail end of the meeting, I guess.
Yep.
Anyway,
I'll
we
add
should.
those as the attendees.
And Doug Davis.
Yep.
That's all
Noted.
I had.
Okay, so we have an amendment to the minutes. Thanks for that catch, Steve.
Okay. Got it.
And then we will have let Sally do just a quick explanation on the 25 PEPO budget.
Patrick sent this over. We have expended the 2025 PEPO. So what he has spent this $1,900, but I just did want to include it since he sent it over. So everybody could take a look and know what we've spent this year. But the 2025 PEPO grant has been expended. We are now finishing the story map with this WSRF grant with the final payments. And I think at this point, most of the invoices have been paid from the story map. So this should be the WSRF grant should be up to date. Of things to note, well, I can talk about the PEPO grant down below. We do have $3,350 to spend on newspaper ads this year as per the Upper Yampa Water Conservancy District grant. So there is a minimum amount to spend. We did not do print ads last year, so I have to up my game on that, and we will talk about that in the next section. But if you have any questions on this WSRF grant or the 2025 grant budget, let me know. We will talk about the 2026 PEPO grant after the story map. I should have put it up higher, but I didn't. Sorry.
Any questions on either the WSRF grant or the 25 PEPO grant? Or a motion to approve the consent agenda with the minutes amended?
So I had a question. So the $1,900 that was left over in 2025,
Yep.
I assume we're probably keeping that. They normally have allowed us to use that for the next year. I mean, it'd be.
Last year, Doug, we did get to roll it over, but we did expend this. So I think the paperwork hasn't gotten through, but I have confirmed with I think we spent this PEPO grant back in November. So it should really read zero, but I did want to include it under full disclosure. This is what I was given. It has been expended though, because
Okay.
Anna did have to wait a good long time to get paid. So she can vouch for the first one being expended. Yeah. So we will have no rollover of the 2025 PEPO grant.
Okay, clear as mud. Thank you. Very good. It's all good.
Yep.
Well,
It is muddy, isn't it?
Patrick, is it's spent.
Well, I didn't want to have them take it back, and
No.
I hate to have them penalize us when we're being responsible as well. So anyhow, it's all good. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, motion to approve the consent agenda with the minutes amended. And the 25 PEPO grant balance at zero. Sounds like a motion Munger, second Hinkmeyer. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Excellent. We're on to agenda item 5, the story map update.
I can kick things off, Sally, unless you want to.
Go ahead, Kristen.
Okay.
I'm
Well, thanks
switching.
everyone for your persistence on this subject over the past few months. I know we have dominated a lot of these conversations, but for good reason. Our hope today is to have Anna walk through what is almost a final product, other than commentary that we will seek from you guys. But before she does that, I just wanted to extend a huge thank you to her for all of her hard work. I think you will see that the final product is really impressive and exciting. Really glad that this has come to fruition in sort of a version of what I had hoped it would be, and what all of us have discussed. I also want to say that she has donated a lot of her time to help make this happen. So she has spent extra hours than she projected on this. So just want to acknowledge that that is part of the reason why it does look as good as it does. She's been really dedicated and she continues to work on it as we get feedback from folks. And then finally, I just wanted to mention that we have solicited feedback from a couple of representatives from CWCB, those being Catherine Weissmiller and Elizabeth Schroeder, as well as some Yampa educators, so they can kind of play around with it and ascertain how it will apply to some of the programs that we offer. So Anna is currently kind of integrating that feedback into this version, and I don't want to speak for you, Anna, in terms of how much of that you've been able to accomplish today before we walk through it. But please know we're actively seeking feedback on parts of the story map that we can make small adjustments to. That said, there are limitations about what she can do to make changes to this because of the hours that we have already expended and because of the time that has been spent on it so far. So please keep that in mind as you're reviewing it. We can make small adjustments and then we can table or catalog whatever it is that we think might benefit from updates or changes or whatever it may be for a phase two if we determine that's needed. So I just wanted to kind of lay the foundation for that. That with all that in mind, I will hand it over to Anna, and then after she gives this overview, we'll give a quick update on kind of how we will be soliciting your feedback more formally, and then next steps for making sure this tool is used as intended.
Well, Kristen, before we move forward on it, just a second, the have you received any feedback yet from Kat or Elizabeth?
Today. Yeah, this morning.
Today.
Mhm.
Okay,
So
and
I was able to
favorable, I
incorporate.
assume.
Yeah, they just had some notes, some sort of corrections to the text,
Good.
and I was able to make most of the corrections today. There's one that we'll talk about when we get to it. There's one sticky graph that they asked about the source for. It involved average annual volume of the Colorado River, and we're still working through that one. So we don't know how that graphic is going to end up looking, but we're working on it.
Yeah, that's a real sensitive topic right now.
Yep.
Well, I don't, do we know how many of the other roundtables have a story map that the PEPO committee has produced? I'm not sure there's many, if any, other ones.
I know the Rio Grande has
yeah.
one, but that was created through by a yeah, they have one.
So this Anna, the work that you've done here may turn into additional work for other roundtables because we do talk about this. We do talk to each other and about what we're doing. And so hopefully this ridiculous learning curve on water matters might transpire into additional remuneration for your skills.
Yeah,
So that's all
and
I
hopefully
had.
it translates to other basins, right?
Yes, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
All right, please proceed.
Okay, thanks. So what we thought we'd do is run through the whole story map today. I think we have the time, and then we can see all the elements. I can walk through the elements and we probably won't click on every single possible, thing we can click on, but I'll show you kind of how the web maps work and the interactive elements and um,
I'm gonna peg it about 4:15 that we'll be wrapping up the initial run through.
oh boy, okay.
So,
Well, but you have
have-
to leave. I think we have a little bit more time if you have to leave at 10 too. So,
yeah, okay.
one.
Okay,
we'll
so
have
you can see my screen?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
I'm just gonna give it a refresh here. So I landed on a river's reach, water and balance in the Yampa White Green Basin. My experience with the sort of splash page is you want it to be memorable, iconic, and you want that first, the title to be maybe a little bit alliterative and just memorable. So that's where I landed. Introduction. Welcome to the Yampa White Green River Basin. The basin is one of Colorado's 9 major river basins and covers the northwestern corner of the state. It's a basin of contrasting landscapes from our snow-capped mountain ranges in the east to our deep and arid canyonlands in the west. An abundance of snow in the winter becomes the lifeblood of running water in our rivers and streams in the spring and summer. The Yampa, White, and Green rivers and their tributaries support the many water users in the basin. From 4th and 5th generation ranchers raising livestock along our river valleys to the towns and industries that have grown up along the river's banks. Fish and wildlife have water needs and rights too, as do our whitewater paddlers and anglers. Water is a vital resource, one that we all need to survive, but its supply is not unlimited. Water demand is growing as population increases and warming climate creates hotter and drier conditions in our basin and the region. Managing our water supply so that all needs in the basin and beyond are met now and into the future is perhaps one of our greatest collective challenges and responsibilities. We, the Yampa White Green Basin Roundtable, believe that it's solved by working together. Established by the Colorado Legislature in 2005, we are one of 9 roundtables statewide. Our 35 volunteer members represent diverse water interests and work together to develop locally driven collaborative solutions to water supply challenges. Our basin is home to some of the last free-flowing rivers in the West, a strong ranching heritage, and a vibrant recreation community. With diverse landscapes, water users, and natural resources, we share a commitment to safeguarding our most precious resource, water. We hope you'll learn that our basin is unique in many ways and that many dedicated people are safeguarding our basin's water for the future. You can be one of them. To help you get the most out of the story, we've created links to chapters and topics. Use the navigation. I'm not going to read all of these, but I'll just read the start. Use the navigation bar, click or tap any topic in the table of contents. Return to the table of contents by clicking the button, return to top. You can use the resources button at the end of each chapter to jump to a curated list of helpful links and documents. Check out the glossary. Here I write that text in italics preceded by an arrow lets you know the slide has an interactive element. And then here's the table of contents, and this allows you to jump right to any section with a heading in the story. So if you wanted to jump to the water cycle, you can do that. If you wanted to jump to the Maple diversion, Steve, you could do that. And that just enables people to navigate to their section of interest. The basin. The basin covers over 10,000 square miles in northwestern Colorado. It's made up of the watershed boundaries of the White Yampa and parts of the Upper and Lower Green River basins. The basin spans Moffett, Routt, Rio Blanco, and Garfield counties. While it makes up just 10% of Colorado's land area, the basin is home to less than 1% of its population, about 45,000 people. Residents in the Yampa Basin are concentrated around the communities of Steamboat Springs and Craig. In the White River Basin, Rangeley and Meeker are the largest communities with about 2,400 residents each.
So can we interrupt when we have a chance here, Anna? So back on that last screen, I was confused as to why Oak Creek had more people and a bigger dot than Steamboat Springs. And same with Yampa and the rest. So anyhow. Just saying.
It-
So I'm just
Right. That is confusing. It's population per square mile. So it's population density, and I can actually put that as a caption here in the legend of this, or in the, yes, in
okay.
this
Okay,
legend.
well that sounds good. So,
Yeah.
but even then, I mean, population per square mile, one would think that Steamboat Springs would have more population per square mile. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's pretty dense, actually.
I don't know. I'm confused. So anyhow, just questioning. Thank you. I'll be
Okay.
going.
It's census data, so it's easy enough to go back and check. The 100-mile basin spans steep mountains, high plateaus, desert lowlands, and deep canyons. Rivers that begin as icy alpine streams over 12,000 feet high descend more than a vertical mile into desert canyonlands and fertile valleys as they approach the Utah border. Our rivers, however, are the lifeblood of our basin. I love this slide. So
Yeah, that's great. I love that one.
it's cool, huh?
Yeah.
Our namesake rivers, Yampa River. The 250-mile Yampa River, one of the last undammed tributaries of the Colorado, flows from the alpine ranges of the Park Gore and Flat Tops through Steamboat Springs. It soon widens into a meandering corridor of cottonwoods and lazy oxbows as it passes through Hayden, Craig, and Maybell. Major tributaries include the Bear, Elk, Little Snake, and Little Snake rivers. Touting several eligible wild and scenic river sections, the Yampa meets the Green River and Dinosaur National Monument, delivering its snow-fed waters to the Colorado system. The White River begins above 11,000 feet in the flat top range of the White River National Forest. Its north and south forks join near Buford to form its upper reach. Flowing west past Meeker, the White's middle reach gathers waters from Miller Creek before entering Powell Park. Its lower reach collects the waters of the Piceance, Yellow, and Douglas Creeks before crossing into Utah about 20 miles west of Rangeley. The White travels 125 miles across the basin and carries about 500,000 acre-feet of mostly snowmelt, roughly 1/3 of the Yampa's flow. At over 700 miles long, the Green River is the longest in the Colorado River Basin, aside from the Colorado River itself. With headwaters in Wyoming's Wind River Range, it flows south to the Flaming Gorge Reservoir, where scheduled releases regulate flows into northwest Colorado. Vermilion Creek joins near Browns Park National Wildlife Refuge before the river plunges into the gates of Lador, John Wesley Powell's dark portal to a region of gloom. The Green meets its largest tributary, the Yampa River, at Steamboat Rock and Dinosaur National Monument. Though only 40 miles of the river flows through Colorado, the Green remains the Colorado River's most influential tributary, contributing 1/3 of its volume annually.
Perfect.
I do want to point out you can click on this to expand those images.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Beyond our basin, from its confluence with the Yampa, the Green River soon enters Utah, collecting the waters of the White River in the heart of the Uinta and Ouray Reservation before flowing another 250 miles to join the mighty Colorado in Canyonlands National Park. As headwaters of the Colorado River, the rivers of the basin are major contributors to the Colorado River system. I need to fix that because they're not headwaters of the Colorado River. Well, we'll talk about that. Supporting the needs of people, agriculture, and industry many states away. Read more about our basin's role in the Colorado River Compact in the Balancing the Basin chapter. And this link will take you to that section in the story map. With the abundance of water flowing from our basin also comes great responsibility to manage our water for diverse interests within the basin and beyond. In order to steward our most valuable resource, water, we need to understand where our water comes from, where it goes, and how it's managed. So when you click on Return to Top, that goes to the table of contents. When you click on Resources, that goes to the Resources section. And these two buttons are at the end of every chapter. It's a beautiful thing that we still have a few free-flowing rivers. Deirdre McNabb. From snow to flow. One of the most iconic attractions of the basin is the epic snowpack that falls in the mountains, some of the deepest in Colorado. This snowpack is our largest reservoir, but not all snow is the same in terms of the amount of water it contributes. Snow water equivalent is a measurement of the volume of water in the snowpack and is tracked by a network of snow telemetry stations. The Tower Snowtell Station is located in Routt County at an elevation of 10,610 feet. The Tower Weather Station at Buffalo Pass has the distinction of the deepest total snowpack ever recorded in a single day in Colorado, 184 inches. Click or tap on a Snowtell station in the map to learn more. So where's that one? It's right there, Tower. So these pop-ups are fun. I set these up so that there's a link to the site page. You can see this, right? You can see the new window.
We can.
Okay.
It's coming.
So that'll go right to the site page for the Snowtell station, and then I set this up so that the image is for the station is right there in the pop-up.
Nice.
And that'll change. Yeah. That'll change for each one.
It's nice.
And you can expand the map and zoom in and out and all that stuff. The timing and magnitude of peak SWE is used by water managers to make decisions about agriculture, recreation, and flood management. Click or tap on the graph, and this will just open this loads the real-time Snowtell SWE graph. And then these little buttons in the upper right, they will take you to a new page, or to that page in the new tab. Snowmelt and spring runoff. Each spring, as the days become longer and warmer, the mountain's deep blanket of snow melts away, cascading as runoff downward in our mountain streams. Over 80% of the annual flow in our basins, rivers, comes from snowmelt. The smallest of these rivulets are called headwater streams or tributaries and converge to form larger and larger waterways and joining our namesake rivers, the Yampa, White, and Green. Here's my breakout lesson for the water cycle. And when you click on each of these map actions, it will just zoom into each of these. So I'll just read a few of these and then we can move on. Water that falls to the earth as snow, rain, sleet, drizzle, and hail is called precipitation. Runoff, or snowmelt water, enters our streams and rivers, swelling their size in the spring. Some snowmelt water accumulates in ponds, lakes, and wetlands, where it may enter the soil through infiltration, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the water cycle graphic in the story map. And then I also turned this into an app. So here's a card, and when you click on this card, it will open the water cycle app that I sort of made in a hurry, and I can make adjustments to it, but it kind of does the same thing. Ignore these. This was something I did today. Ignore those little drops. So it will take you to right to those bookmarks, precipitation, and then here in the lower right, which is really a little too small for my taste, it has the description for each of those items. Annual precipitation varies greatly across the basin, ranging from about 70 inches in the mountains to less than 10 in the lowlands near Utah. Vegetation changes from east to west too, from spruce and fir forest in the east to sagebrush steppe in the west. And this is a fun little slider so you can compare the relationship between those two elements.
Oh, wow.
Living with the natural hydrograph. Our rivers are largely free-flowing with few dams to store and control water. River flows rise and fall naturally with the seasons. The basin's flows follow a natural hydrograph, a graph that plots the river's volume over time, typically as cubic feet per second. Stream gauges like the ones in this map track the flow of rivers for flood forecasting and water management. 1 cubic foot is approximately 7.5 gallons. I made this graphic. That's
I like it. It's a good one.
Okay. Yeah. Click or tap to explore live stream gauges. So these are interactive. So you can click on these and it will pop up the stream gauge information. You can go to the graph, the data. This opens, just an image of the real-time graph.
It's also 320,000 gallons of water in an acre foot and 640,000 gallons of water in 1 cubic foot per second.
Yeah, I've used that football field graphic, and I can definitely throw that on here. I think I even modified it for this story map with the colors of the story map. So if that makes sense, I can definitely add that here.
It is, those are the two most common volumetric uh, measurements that go along with the cubic foot. So I don't know if you or Kristen think that's necessary, but just FYI.
I think we'll where I can't remember where exactly I talk about acre feet, maybe not for much further down, but we can do a little
Okay.
blurb about acre feet, and then introduce that as a another little photo here with a caption.
If it's in there once, that's probably plenty. Thank you.
Sure. In our basin, winter is a time of winter is a time of low flows, while spring runoff brings high water and whitewater excitement. Late summer means low and slow flows into fall as snow melt subsides. And these are for 3 gauges on the Yampa White and Green, and here's where the Yampa Deer Lodge, the White River below near Rangeley, and then the Green River, the White River below Rangeley, and the Green River near Jensen below the dam, right below the dam.
Another key metric that we use is the water year, and that begins in October each year. So September 31st is the last day of the water year.
Okay. Storage. Living in a basin with free-flowing rivers offers world-class recreation and sustains farms, wildlife, and communities, but it also brings challenges. Our towns and industries rely on steady water supplies year-round. Reservoirs created by damming rivers are a crucial part of our water storage and supply system. They store water during wet periods and release it during dry times to meet municipal, agricultural, industrial, and environmental needs. The Colorado stretch of the Green River has no major reservoirs, but Flaming Gorge Reservoir in Wyoming and Utah plays a vital role, regulating flows and sustaining endangered fish downstream. Learn more about endangered fish in the Rivers' Rights chapter. There are just 5 major reservoirs in the basin: Steamboat Lake, Elkhead Reservoir, and Stagecoach Reservoir in the Yampa Basin, and Lake Avery and Kenny Reservoir in the White. Given the size of our basin and population, existing water storage capacity in the basin is limited. Fewer reservoirs means less backup water supply and vulnerability to natural flow fluctuations. With limited storage, planning for and protecting existing storage are essential to ensure reliable water during dry years. A wild river.
There is one other river or one other reservoir. It would be Yamcolo, and that's just above Stagecoach, and it's about 9,000 acre feet of water. It's the same size as Avery, and it's heavily used. It's the one reservoir that we know is going to drain every year.
Okay. I can definitely add that in.
Yamcolo, like Yampa in Colorado.
These 5 reservoirs are a selection. I think there was a comment in one of the narrative documents that we were all working in, that these 5 should be included, but I had already created the feature layer for a lot of other reservoirs as well. So I have that ready to go. So all I have to do is just turn it on. So no biggie.
So I also have a comment too, if I could, Anna. So if you go back a screen, when you talked about the reservoirs when they damming up the rivers and the rest, I mean, there's no way anybody's going to get another on-channel reservoir anywhere ever, probably. And so I think we need to, just like in the White River right now, and they're working on having an off-channel and a pump back up into, so you can capture the high spring flow runoff. But created by damming rivers. Yeah.
For pumped hydropower, is that
no,
what you're
they're talking about just pumping
storage.
it up into a reservoir during high flow and then being able to store that and be able to release it, during the year and, when as needed versus, damming up the river. And I just have that, I just cringe when I see that created by damming the rivers,
Okay.
so,
Yeah,
we have done that, but that's not ever probably going to ever happen again. So
Okay.
in my personal opinion, I think that we still need water storage, and even in the Elk River above Steamboat, we could have some great places that could store water, and it would be not an on channel, but a pump back during high
Gotcha.
flows and a late season release. So I'm sensitive and my tentacles are sensitive to those kind of comments. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, many
Got it.
people are, and it's a very valuable topic to mention. But yes, stored water is critical to our water future because we know we're going to have less water and more demand. And if we don't have water stored, late summer is going to become increasingly a real issue for us. So we may not see, I agree with Doug, we may not see new reservoirs built, but a lot of the existing reservoirs may be expanded, and or like Stagecoach is a good example of where we may firm some additional capacity for it. In other words, have a refillability. So storage is such an important topic. It is the number one theme for the Colorado Water Congress, and there are 3-day meetings down at the end of January in Denver. So storage is, you want to, we don't want to, yes, we're proud of the fact that we have a river that functions with like almost a perfectly natural hydrograph, but we also have stored water that really supports the river health and a diverse number of uses.
Could we say created in the past by damming rivers?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we say created by damming rivers and tributaries?
Yeah, the storage thing is an important thing to point out, is has real value. In fact, one of the segments of the Water Congress presentation is just that, the value that different organizations and entities have had around the state of Colorado in supporting the 15-mile reach down in Grand Junction, the work that we've done in the town of Steamboat Springs, releasing water from Stagecoach. And there's quite a few different examples of that type of benefit to that river's health that comes from releasing stored water.
I really value and appreciate these comments. And we do want to talk about how we're going to collect all this so these don't, so these are incorporated after this demo, if that's okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I was surprised that we floated past that.
Okay, and then if you click on each of these, there just comes up with a little blurb about each one.
Okay, cool.
Water challenges. As the region grows hotter and drier, long-term drought is taking a toll on agriculture, water resources, energy, and wildlife, while increased evaporation and thirstier crops, livestock, and lawns further deplete supplies. A hotter and drier climate will mean that we have to take great care of the stored water in our reservoirs. Kent Vertrees. Droughts. Though gradual, long-term drought has serious impacts. Hotter, drier conditions mean thirstier crops and lawns, faster evaporation from reservoirs and rivers, and a higher risk of wildfire. This interactive graph shows percentage of areas of the basin in drought by severity since 2000. So if you click on it, you can hover over these and get these values. And this is from the U.S. Drought Monitor.
Wow, that's quite a graphic.
You'd be able to, I think I just have to change it so you can expand it, but you should be able to expand it to fill the whole window. Reduce river flows. A warmer climate is causing snowpack to melt earlier and shifting peak runoff earlier in the spring. Warmer temperatures also reduce the water available later in the year, leaving less water for farms, communities, industry, fish, and wildlife. There's a 3.3 to 5% reduction in stream flow per 1 degree Fahrenheit increase in temperature. This interactive graph illustrates a clear trend. As temperatures rise, stream flow declines. The Yampa River at Steamboat Springs and average temperatures in Routt County provide the example shown here. In 2021, Routt, Moffat, and Rio Blanco counties recorded the hottest summer on record, while Yampa River base flows have declined by over a third over the last century. Long-term warming will require increasingly adaptive water management strategies.
I believe that they're saying that we have already lost in the last 30 years, I believe it's 2.3 degrees increase in average temperature in Northwest Colorado.
Fahrenheit,
Yes,
most likely. Yeah.
it's
This
one of
one,
the highest values in the state. I was surprised about that.
okay. And then reduced water quality. Warmer temperatures also impact the quality of our water. The basin is experiencing nuisance algal blooms, stringy green algae attached to rocks, plants, and sediment at the bottom of our reservoirs, such as Stagecoach and Steamboat Lake, and rivers, such as the White. This phenomenon is becoming more frequent with rising water temperatures, impacting fish and other aquatic organisms and our recreational and scenic enjoyment of our rivers. Benthic algae at North Fork of the White River, summer 2018. Hotter and drier conditions are also making the basin more prone to severe wildfire outbreaks. Small, frequent fires have always played a healthy role in our forests, but today's large, superheated, fast-moving fires have a significant impact on our water supply. Ash and debris wash into reservoirs and rivers, polluting the water we rely on, while vegetation loss can cause ongoing erosion and debris flows can lead to increased sedimentation in waterways. Oh, yeah. Population growth. As more people learn about the basin's beauty and high quality of life, an increasing number are calling it home or a home away from home. More people mean more homes and development, and more people to provide with fresh, clean water. And this one's another interactive graph here, and you can actually zoom in or hone in on dates. What we're doing. The roundtable was formed to address these challenges by modernizing water infrastructure and coordinating water use, storage, and delivery to reduce shortages while supporting environmental and recreational needs. The roundtable is working hard to help plan for the basin's water secure future and helps fund and support numerous basin-wide multi-benefit projects. Project Spotlight, Y Basin. In the Yampa Basin, dry soils can dramatically reduce how much snowmelt becomes streamflow, something we saw clearly in 2021 when 89% of median snowpack produced only 30% of normal flows. The Yampa Basin Atmospheric and Soil Moisture Integrated Network, Y Basin, was launched to better understand this shift. This growing network of long-term stations measures soil moisture, snow depth, temperature, and other climate conditions across the Upper Yampa. The data helps communities and land managers make informed decisions in a warming, drying basin. The goal is 30 stations in the Upper Yampa watershed from its headwaters to Craig. 7 are currently installed. Explore real-time station data in the map. This one was a fun one to put together. So when you click on those, I set it up to have a picture and the latest observations, the graphs with the description here, and then the station graphs. So when you click on each of these, it'll open the image.
I believe we are the most progressive soil moisture monitoring basin in the state. This initiative is not really replicated anywhere else.
Okay, that's good to know.
I know when we talk about it at these statewide meetings, everybody's like, "Yeah, wow, that's a good idea. We need to do that."
Okay. Drought, wildfire, a rising population, all these factors influence our regional water supply. Even in one of Colorado's wettest regions, the basin depends on surface water and has limited storage, making careful management essential. Read on to explore how water is used across farms, industries, and communities. Do we need to stop, Ken? How are we doing?
No, Sally and I are just going to stay here. I'm going to just stay and do the executive committee meeting from here.
Okay.
So we have some extra time. Yeah.
Okay.
We gained some
Keep
more
going.
time.
I'm
Okay.
writing down my comments unless
Great.
we have a discussion.
Great. And just let me know if I need to stop. Water is ultimately more valuable than land. Liz Chandler. Water at work. Now that we understand where our water comes from, largely snowmelt, and how it moves through rivers and is stored in reservoirs, the next step is understanding how we use it. Water uses that remove water from the system, either temporarily or permanently, are called consumptive uses. In our basin, consumptive uses support three major sectors: agriculture, growing crops and raising livestock; industry, powering our communities and supporting local economies; and municipal use, drinking water for towns, homes, schools, and businesses. Together, these uses rely on a vast network of canals, ditches, pipes, and diversions that move water from the river to where it's needed most.
Okay, the municipal use is largely non-consumptive. Almost all that water is treated. It's diverted, treated, delivered, used, collected, treated, and returned to the river. The only consumptive use really is the lawn watering, the outdoor watering.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess are we talking about consumptive water use or total water use and then come back to consumptive? Because I think sales pitch here, we ought to explain and put in here that how much we're going to the snowmaking and the rest, and that's probably 10% evaporative loss, but the rest is all non-consumptive. It comes back down to the river. So anyhow, just
Correct.
throw that out.
Yeah, that's a really important concept, is consumptive versus non-consumptive. Using it doesn't necessarily means it's consumed. It just means that it's been utilized and returned to the river. If you live far enough downstream, that water has been used many times.
Okay. We'll have to work that into the next section, the river's
Okay.
rights, because that's the non-consumptive use section. But this section is consumptive use. Water for ag or ranching heritage. Ranching is at the heart of the basin's economy and identity. High elevation hay and alfalfa production, along with cattle grazing, anchor rural livelihoods. Rivers nourish fields that families have stewarded for generations, with hay sustaining livestock year-round. The basin supports roughly 92,000 acres of irrigated land, and unlike most regions in Colorado, irrigated acreage is projected to increase, reflecting a strong commitment to working landscapes and long-standing water rights. Most ranches rely on a gravity-fed open-ditch irrigation system that moves water from a river diversion through fields, often extending beyond the floodplain. The water in this system is controlled via a network of thousands of headgates, sluices, valves, and diversions, many of which are more than a century old. Maybelle is home because we've got water. Mike Camplin. Agricultural production centers around populated places in the basin, as seen in this map showing the comparison of sprinkler versus flood or furrow irrigation, surrounded by a complex irrigation network around the town of Meeker on the White River. Take a look around the map and explore with the swipe tool. This one's another fun one. And then this one you can definitely explore around. There's sprinkler. Flood irrigation is the dominant method, accounting for about 88% of irrigated acres in the basin. While sprinkler systems like center pivot and side roll irrigation can improve efficiency and use less water, flood irrigation serves beneficial roles, generating return flows that later rejoin the rivers, helping to maintain late season flows and creating riparian and wetland habitat that sustain wildlife and protect riverbanks.
I like that.
Perfect.
It's a good way of
I'm sorry.
saying it. It's a good way to say that.
Perfect.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
75% of the water diverted from the White River for irrigation returns to the river. I've seen two figures. I've seen 80% and 75%. So we'll have to.
I think 75% was the last White River return flow study.
Yeah, but there was one part of the study that pointed at 80%. You might reference that comes from was it a 3-year research project that Liz Chandler can tell you exactly, but it was a multi-year, coordinated with CSU, run by CSU.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So
is it the Ryan Bailey study? Because that's where I got that figure from.
Dr. Ryan Bailey. Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So if
Oh,
you
you've already
see,
got it. Perfect.
yeah, if you see a little eye, that's
Excellent.
the source. You just click on that
Perfect.
and it'll
Thank
open
you.
a source. Yeah. I love this quote by Liz Chandler. Good farmers and ranchers are the best environmentalists I know. They truly care about more than their own self-interests. Water for industry, powering our communities. The industrial sectors that help power our communities, including electricity generation and energy development, rely on important water rights that shape basin-wide water planning.
That's 100% consumptive.
The basin's rivers support power plants that provide electricity to run our homes and businesses, including the Hayden and Craig coal-fired power plants, historically the largest industrial water users. Both plants divert Yampa River water and recycle much of it internally for steam generation and cooling. Craig and Hayden stations are located along the Yampa River. Hayden station diverts over 5,000 acre feet per year. Here's where I talk about acre feet, so this might be a good spot for a graphic. Craig station diverts 14,000 acre feet. And then here's an image of a closed loop coal power plant. And for all of these graphics, I manipulated them so that they use mostly the colors that we've decided on for the theme and the fonts that we've decided on for the theme.
Good. Good.
Coal power is scheduled to end within the next 2 decades, creating major economic transition in the basin. Approximately 825 employees in the 4 coal mines and 2 coal-fired power plants across the basin may need employment transition assistance. Here's a typo right here. Gotta fix that.
And those are for them, and by and large, those are high paying jobs. Those are some of the traditionally highest paying jobs in the valley.
That's important info. Okay, the roundtable is encouraging power plant operators, Tri-State and Excel, to find creative uses for their water rights, such as pumped storage hydropower. This type of storage works by using surplus electricity to pump water from a lower reservoir to a higher one. When electricity is needed, water flows back down through turbines generating power. The basin sits atop significant fossil fuel reserves. Hang on one sec. Sorry, my husband just got home. Shut the door. With over 10,000 permitted oil and gas wells, mostly concentrated in Rio Blanco County near Rangeley. Over 100 wells per square mile in parts of the Rangeley field. This map displays wells per square mile throughout the basin on the right, with well spots on the left. Take a look around. However, energy development fluctuates with market conditions, leading to a dramatic decrease in drilling, complicating water development planning. Many mineral rights holders also hold significant water rights. Even when not used for drilling, these rights influence basin-wide planning and long-term allocation. The Piceance Basin of Garfield and Rio Blanco counties holds the world's largest oil shale deposits, but cost of development has impeded drilling, and as of 2025, there are no active leases. The Roundtable's Energy Committee keeps a close eye on these industrial water needs and rights, identifies gaps, and supports planning that safeguards basin supplies.
So what is the Roundtable Energy Committee? So I didn't remember that we had one.
We have an energy representative.
Energy representative.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all good. So I just say I don't think we had. I mean, we've got a couple committees, but I didn't think we had an energy committee. Thank you.
Good catch, Doug.
Okay, so if this one is, we can talk about this later, but I'm gonna have to think about how to put this into the next section, or whether we should even have separate consumptive and non-consumptive use sections. But we can think about that after the call.
It might be easiest to just call them specific uses and explain that they each have a different quotient of consumptive versus non-consumptive. Like your industrial use, 100% consumptive. lawn watering, 100% consumptive. But many of the uses, even flood irrigation, they're part of keeping the aquifer and healthy. And I mean, this picture is excellent. Shows the river recharging the aquifer.
Mm-hmm.
So instead, I mean, the words consumptive and non-consumptive are important, but maybe we, instead of trying to describe everything as one or the other, because they're all, with almost all of them, are a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. I'll give that some thought. It might be
Yeah, I
worth
think,
thinking about, maybe just like I said, not separating them out and just having, just uses.
yeah, just
Yeah.
call them uses and then
Mhm.
explain that, have a little tutorial about a consumptive use is when the water does not return to the river, and a
Right.
non-consumptive use is where it does come back after it's been used.
Okay. Okay. Municipalities divert both surface and groundwater through treatment plants to supply drinking water. Most rely on river diversions and small reservoirs such as Stagecoach, Elkhead, and Steamboat Lake. Compared to other Colorado basins, municipal use represents a small share of total water use. Agriculture remains the dominant consumptive use. So that's going to need to change.
Well,
Overall, the base.
I had also asked that we figure out somewhere how much water we're actually providing to the system down to Lake Powell. So somewhere, whether we could come up, because I have heard that it's 97% of our waters flow out of here. So we're only using 3% of our water. And so, and that's what Kevin McBride championed for a bit. And I think that's really important when we
Yeah,
start talking about abusing water and using water and the rest. Hey, we're sending it all down to California anyhow, so get
I
over it.
guarantee you Becky Mitchell wants to see that in here. Guarantee you.
So I don't know.
I've seen the map, the map that shows the acre feet per year, for
The arrow. Mhm.
the green, the Yampa, and the white that leave the state. I'm not sure I've seen a, you know, the comparison for, like, so that's the water that's sent downstream, but how much is used by the basin? I'm not sure if I've seen that graphic.
It's a real important concept though, because right now the lower basin is, they're convinced that we are using all the water, that we're
Yeah.
somehow hoarding water up here, and that's not the reality.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we're being a little picky about this, and thank you for putting up with this on it, because I know you've worked really hard on it, but making sure we clearly communicate these concepts, and that's the type of stuff that the Colorado Water Conservation Board will have heartburn over, because they're afraid that lower basin states are going to see something like this and go, see, they're using all our water.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
Well,
I'm
that's
not
my
sure how
job, is to communicate this, the most effective way possible. So,
I'll work
we'll
with you on
definitely
it.
find a way to work that in. I wonder, yeah, I'll have to give that some thought. And, but again, if you have the data, or if you have a graphic that shows, the comparison between the amount that's used versus the amount that leaves the state, send that my way.
What was your source, Doug, or do you remember?
No, it was just Kevin McBride when he was at the Upper Yampa said that we use only 3% of the Yampa River anyhow.
Yeah,
So I
we'll
can't
have to.
imagine that somebody, whether it's Aaron Light or somebody, wouldn't have a number of how much water uh, on average maybe is provided by the basins and how much is used through, diversions and the rest is going out of the state. So I don't know. I think this is a critical time to point out our situation, my thought anyhow. So thank you.
Mhm.
I'll take responsibility for trying to track down that statistic and graphic.
Oh, thanks, Sally.
And then we'll kind of tweak how we present consumptive, non-consumptive, and just uses in general. And I think it'll make more sense.
Okay. Um, okay, has everyone read the slide or should I read it? I'll just
We've
read
read
it.
it.
We want to
Overall, the
try,
basins. Mhm.
we're gonna need to be, we've got a couple of things we have to take care of. So at a quarter till, we have a kind of a, pretty much of a hard stop for sure.
Okay, Kristen, should we transition to how we're going to solicit feedback, or should we set a time to have some time to talk about that?
Yeah, that makes sense. Are there any other aspects of the story map itself that you really want to showcase to highlight where folks should direct their attention when they're doing the review?
Um, Nothing in particular. I mean, all of these comments are really valuable. So I think maybe if you all want to spend some time on your own time going through it, and we can talk about how best to collect comments, and then I can incorporate those after maybe in the next couple weeks before I leave, hopefully. But yeah, I could keep going through it, or we can just we can pause and you can go through the rest on your own.
No, why don't you keep going? We'll go as far as
Okay.
we can.
Okay. Shared challenges. While the consumptive uses in our basin, ag industry, municipalities use water in different ways, they face interconnected challenges that require coordinated basin-wide solutions. Agriculture is strained by hotter temperatures, earlier snowmelt, late season water gaps, and aging irrigation infrastructure. Industry, particularly energy production, is navigating major transitions as coal-fired power retires, markets shift, and water rights are reconsidered. Municipal water providers must plan for population change, drought, wildfire risks to water quality, and long-term system reliability. What we're doing. Layered across all sectors are complex water rights, interstate obligations, and the need to maintain healthy rivers. These shared pressures highlight why the Roundtable focuses on collaborative planning, infrastructure investment, and multi-benefit projects that support working landscapes, resilient communities, and sustainable water management. Project Spotlight, the Maybell Diversion Project. Completed in 2024, the $6.8 million Maybell Diversion Project modernized the largest diversion on the Yampa River. The project replaced a 126-year-old headgate and hazardous in-stream diversion, improving irrigation efficiency, fish passage, and boater safety. Solar-powered remote controls now allow precise agricultural water delivery while maintaining river flows for endangered fish and recreation. Through a collaborative effort among agricultural, environmental, and recreation partners, the project demonstrates how diverse interests can work together for the health of our rivers and the communities that depend on them. Learn more about this 1899 water right. Click or tap on the Maybell Canal symbol. And this will take you to the DWR page. It opens the door for the ag and environmental communities to realize they can work together to solve these problems. Everybody wins. Mike Camplin. Project Spotlight, White River Return Flow Study. The White River Return Flow Study provides critical insight into how irrigation water moves through the landscape and back to the river. Led by CSU professor Dr. Ryan Bailey, the research quantified what many basin ranchers and farmers already knew. About 80% of diverted irrigation water returns to the river through groundwater. These return flows are especially important in late summer and fall, when groundwater can account for up to 75% of river flow, helping sustain aquatic ecosystems, wetlands, and downstream water users long after runoff. 10 to 15 foot drop in water table if flood irrigation is converted to sprinkler irrigation. And that's from that paper.
Mhm.
As water demands grow across the Colorado River Basin, this study equips irrigators, managers, and policymakers with data to better balance agricultural practices, river health, and long-term water management. Our basin's water works hard to sustain our farms and ranches, drinking water, and local industries, but the story doesn't end at a diversion. It continues downstream, sustaining fish and wildlife, recreation and tourism, scenic beauty, and sense of place. Read on to learn how far the water of a healthy river can reach. People here are working hard to work together. A river's rights. Water sustains more than farms, industries, and communities. It's the lifeblood of the basin's fish and wildlife, outdoor recreation, local economy, and sense of place. Non-consumptive uses such as maintaining flows for fish and wildlife, boating, fishing, and scenic river corridors depend on careful, collaborative water management. The basin's rivers provide critical in-stream habitat for native cold-water fisheries and endangered warm-water species. Their natural flow patterns support healthy riparian ecosystems and create some of the best whitewater recreation in the nation. These rivers are also central to the basin's identity, shaping a way of life rooted in skiing, paddling, fishing, hunting, tourism, and the scenic river corridors that define the landscape. Colorado is unique in recognizing water rights for the environment with in-stream flow rights. Unlike traditional water rights that divert water for consumptive use, ISF rights are non-consumptive, protecting a decreed amount of water in the channel or lake to preserve the environment. Through the in-stream flow program, Colorado can maintain healthy aquatic ecosystems, support fish and wildlife, and in some cases, restore degraded waterways while operating fully within the state's prior appropriation system. This is also interactive. Oops.
Yeah, that's all good. I like that section there, and again, I just they're junior to everything else, and so they're basically junior to everything. So I don't know how you put that in there nicely or whatever, but the bottom line is everything else that was there before 84, so is senior through and you said that through the prior appropriation system. So thank you.
I mean, it might be worth stating it more explicitly as well. Warm and cold water fisheries. The basin's rivers support two distinct fish communities shaped by elevation, temperature, and flow. Cold, snowmelt-driven headwaters provide habitat for native trout and support some of the basin's most iconic fisheries. Moving west and downstream, warm, sediment-rich rivers sustain fish uniquely adapted to desert river conditions, including 4 federally endangered fish species. This might be TMI, I'm not sure, but this is the tiers, the life tiers from the CDPHE. Yeah. And that corresponds to the colors in the map here.
Yeah, it's neat.
Changes to natural flow patterns, habitat, and connectivity have placed many native fish at risk. Protecting in-stream flows and restoring river processes are central to sustaining these fisheries and the rivers they depend on. I think I have this set up as a formatted pop-up, and it explains what these tiers mean here, and then links to the documentation, the CDPHA documentation. The basin is home to 4 threatened and endangered warm water fish species, the Colorado pike minnow, humpback chub, bony-tailed chub, and razorback sucker. The populations declined as dams, reservoirs, and river modifications altered and reduced flows, affecting spawning and movement. Non-native fish species such as the northern pike and smallmouth bass further threaten recovery by competing with or preying on native fish. Designated critical habitat shown in this map. That is an ugly fish. I'm sorry.
And they put that in there on purpose.
Helps focus conservation efforts on the river reaches most essential to survival. Across the basin, collaborative recovery programs, including the Upper Colorado Endangered Fish Recovery Program, manage flows and restore habitat to better mimic natural river conditions, balancing ecological needs with existing water uses. Found nowhere else on Earth, these fish are icons of our wild river heritage and essential to the health of our river ecology today. And
They
then
believe the endangered species have been in the river for approximately 2 million years.
Thinking about time, is this a good time to kind of talk about comments and where we want to put those? And
yeah, we need to finish this up on our own. Where are we? What, about halfway through it? 2/3?
Yeah, we're about 2/3.
Okay, so we still have about a third. You want to tell us how you want us to finish this up, and we'll get to you the rest of our comments.
So one way that you could provide comments is you can go up here to these three dots and you go to print preview, and it'll print a PDF which has all of the slides and all of the text, and you can make comments in that PDF and share that. That's one way. And another way is to just record your comments in an email or a Google Doc and just reference the chapter
Okay.
and the slide title if it has a title, and then provide those. Sally, were we thinking those were going to go to you?
Yeah, I'll take all the comments. Sally at yampawhitegreen.com. So you can email those to me or the PDF. Either way, and I'll get those to Anna.
Should we just go ahead and send out the PDF version, Sally, so that
Yeah,
folks don't have
I'll
an
send out a
obstacle?
PDF version to everybody. I'll email to everybody on the PEPO subcommittee. But if you choose not to use that, if you want to do it, just on a Google Doc and write some things out, I can also translate them for you if that's the way you'd rather do it. So
Thanks, Sally.
One thing I do want to draw your attention to is the Your Basin, Your Voice. This is sort of the call to action section. And we had come up with in our Google Docs that we were all working in some sample calls to action involving, just communication and getting involved in your local water management. And so I translated those into these items in the story map. So if you want to go through these and if you have any tweaks or if you would like anything added or removed, I just want to draw your attention to that. And that's Your Basin, Your Voice. You can get right to that by clicking on that heading there.
Okay. Well, very good. I know initially it was hard for me to get my arms around exactly what we were trying to get done here, but you've done a wonderful job of taking our rather eclectic way of communicating and turning it into this story maps. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Anna, for walking through that with such detail. So I would like to propose that we get feedback from all of you no later than the 14th, maybe the 16th, if you need more time than that, just so we can keep at this and release Anna from her contract.
On the 16th, try to have comments back by January 16th.
Yeah, I think that seems like probably enough time, hopefully.
So I'm leaving on the 27th for 3.5 weeks. I will be absolutely off the grid. So if comments are received by the 16th, I would have a week to incorporate them.
Does that seem like enough time?
It depends on, how it sounds like there's some pretty big lifting for dealing with the non-consumptive versus consumptive. So I just want to get your feedback on those so I can get cracking on those sections.
Can we say the 14th? That gives the rest of this week and midway into next week.
Well, let's make 16th the deadline, and if you can get it in sooner, do so.
Okay. And
Because we've got a bunch of meetings next week.
Okay, Anna, we can talk through some options. Maybe could be solved by just using some slightly different terminology and clarifying how we're defining those terms, as opposed to restructuring the entire map, but we can talk through that.
Okay.
I can highly suggest people get it by the 14th, and if they trickle in later, they trickle in later, but I'll send everything what I have to you by the 14th, by a week from today.
Thank you.
I wanted to say one last thing and then we can move on in this meeting, but Sally and I will be working on how we can get the word out and sort of a distribution campaign for this resource, because we don't want it to just kind of live on a website. We want to make sure that we're making some hay about all the work that's gone into this and sharing it broadly. So we'll be putting together a list of the various audiences and how we want to outreach this to them, and probably put together an executive summary of sorts that captures what the story map covers.
Yeah, I have like a real short demo or something. Yeah, but we also have never this might be a good press release to do for the newspaper and let them know what we're doing, and they may even decide to run a story on it eventually.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be part of it.
Super. Okay. Well, we do have a couple of other things that we want to talk about. So Anna, thank you. Do you mind if we kind of
Kick me off.
come to an end here?
We appreciate all the work you've done. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
course.
Yeah, good
It's
job.
amazing.
Yeah,
You're very
we don't
welcome.
mean to be critical, so.
It's okay. That's what this is for. So yeah, thank you. Okay, well, take care, and I look forward to seeing the feedback.
Okay.
Happy New
Thank
Year.
you.
Thanks, Anna.
Bye.
Thanks,
Happy
Anna.
New Year.
Appreciate
Bye.
it.
Okay. Let's that was our story map review. I want to get right on to the rest of 6 here as quick as we can. Do we need to say much about the PEPO grant?
For the PEPO grant, I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm looking at, here, let me share my screen for a second, and I'm going to put the agenda up up real quick on the screen. I just wanted to let people know task 5 is kind of what we're looking at for future funds for the story map. We have $11,758 set aside for a future 2026 project. Initially, we thought about hiring Blue Fire Consulting to help us with some print ads. Would also, so that would be the $67.58. If we have any overages from the story map for phase 2, that was the $5,000. So we've got some leeway there.
And that's what that's the agenda item that I inserted, 6.4.
Yeah.
So we'll come to that. So the first one is the marketing, and we need the group to agree that this is a good use of the money. I think we're already pretty much in agreement, but go ahead and tell Sally that's fine to look for a contract to do some marketing with our print ads and how to get the word out on our story map. Is everybody comfortable with that? It's in our budget. It's what we've been talking about, but before we tell Sally to proceed, we need to make sure everybody's on. We probably ought to even have a motion on it.
How much money were you talking, Sally?
We have task 5, $11,758 for a 2026 project. Considering we don't have a whole lot of overages for the story map, we've got almost $11,000 to play with. So I haven't reached out to Blue Fire yet to see their availability or pricing, but I do know, like Kristen said, we do want to have some assistance on getting the word out with the story map. We also have quite a few print ads to make with some of the infographics and for the summer. So
I
just
think
again need a little help.
Probably not to exceed 6,700, and really all Sally needs to do right now is have permission to go out and start working on what that proposal would look like, so we know how much we're spending, because we don't really understand yet.
That was the number I was after, Ken, was how much of that 11,000 are we spending it?
Not to exceed 67.
Yeah, I'm good with 6,700. I think we need some ads. I think we need some handouts for the local conservation and the cattlemen's, and I think there's that kind of guide people to get to this story map.
Good. Okay.
Unfortunately, word of mouth is still the best way to get word around.
Yeah.
And we will do that. But merging some of the infographics with, some of our updating our print ads, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so not hearing any opposition, we're going to go ahead and have Sally begin to research and find out exactly what that's going to look like and how much it'll cost.
Yep.
Remap financials, number 4.
Yeah, I think we're ready to, and so I think that covers 1, 2, and 3. So number 4, first of all, we have a small overage so far. I think how would you characterize it? Sally, they probably worked for free on some, and the over Our original budget over the contract is a little over $700, $719. She did say, I think she said that she indicated that she would eat that if she had to.
Mhm.
We just gave her a number of additional things to do. I'm looking at that number right above the 6,700 and it's 5,000. Kristen, were you, and it's got your name on it. Is that, if we don't do phase two right away, here's an important thing that we should agree on, that we're not going to dive straight into a phase two. We want to test drive this for a period of time, see what we can learn, how does it work, and then, kind of polish up this before we go into a phase two story map. Is anybody in opposition to that?
One of the
I'm
things that Anna didn't talk about today, Ken, was that we talked about yesterday was using some Google Analytics on get that fired up on the story map so you can understand how people are getting to what sections and if they're having trouble with the section or whatever. But there were some things she could do to help turn on that Google Analytics so that if we run it for like 6 months or something, we'd have a better understanding of how people are using it and then hopefully form a better plan on what could be a phase two.
Yeah,
Thanks
the
for
Google
bringing that up,
Analytics
Steve.
are on my plate. Yeah.
okay.
I was going to mention that too. So yes, Ken, you are accurate in your assessment that we are going to sit on what has been developed or what will be released as the final version before we suggest a phase two. And I would just say any comments that have a significant time element associated with them in the process of collecting your feedback, we'll just kind of put on the shelf as phase two possibilities.
Perfect. Now, I'm assuming that you, Kristen, myself, and Sally will take a good look at what additional work we're asking of Anna and use some portion of that $5,000 to maybe extend the contract, modify the contract, write a separate one. I'm assuming you just would want to modify what you have to have her finish up some of the work that we've identified today and that we're going to send her notes. Is that okay with you, Kristen?
I think that would be great. I feel like she's really gone above and beyond. So to expect her to take all of our comments from this point and continue to do the work for effectively free is a lot to ask. So to the extent that we feel comfortable compensating her for a product that we're really proud of and is accurate, then I fully advocate for that if we have some resources to do that.
Okay, well, I don't want to say, well, we've got an extra 5,000. What can, I don't
No,
want to
no,
turn it
certainly
loose
not.
that way. But I think we can say, look, we understand that we're asking you to do a significant amount more than what you had contemplated. And we can remunerate you. Can you give us some estimate of what you think that might be? And then get an approval from this group before we actually do the payment. But if anybody opposed to that idea, I certainly don't think we need to spend the whole 5,000, but we probably need to spend at least 1,000, maybe even more than that. But fairly reimburse her for the effort that we're asking her to put in. Is
I
there
don't have a
anyone
problem with that.
opposed to that?
No.
Okay, good. All right. Well, then you'll see that amount before we approve it, or you will approve it prior to, but we don't have that number today. That was the biggest thing that I needed to make sure I had time to talk with all of you, because I know Steve's about 3 minutes from needing to run his meeting. We do have some newspaper article dates, so we'll need topics. Sally, do you have anything already identified?
I really don't yet. We can do the usual Yampitica maybe in October is kind of what I planned. I tried to space them out. So we had a little bit of time to come up with some topics. So what I really wanted just people to think of topics, and if you can have any to share with me, please do.
This story map would be a good
Yep.
one, Sally.
True.
Yeah, and I still think we can do something on the value of blood irrigation. And maybe storage. Storage has been um, is a real relevant topic, and I think just mentioning that stored water, even though we don't have a lot of it, it made a big difference in being able to keep our river healthy last summer.
So I just have a little complaint here. How did
Yes, sir.
scorecard get involved here? And how did it get highlighted in the rest? I am totally opposed to that. They don't have any landowners involved in this thing. This is all yuppiedom. So I'm just really figuring out how that got involved here and then how it got highlighted here and the rest. And I'm not supportive of, in fact, the Moffat County Land Use Board voted that thing down for the lower section of the river. So anyhow,
Yeah, we put those out and we asked for everybody's input. If we really don't want it, we could take it out and replace it with something else. I'll take a look at it. Please make a note of that, Doug. And I mean, if we want to replace it, I think we had a list and Anna chose from them, technically, is how it happened. So we gave her a list and then she chose from that list.
so it's all good. But we get different opinions, but when you don't have any of the landowners that own the land
Yeah.
involved in this stuff, you got yuppiedom coming down. So I didn't figure out how we're going to do something with this thing here. And I've had this conversation a bunch of times with a bunch of different people. I have the conversation with Jeff Comstock and the rest. And again, Steve Hinkemeyer, he probably sits on the Moffat County Land Use Board as
He
well.
probably chairs the Moffat County Land Use Board.
I
Anyhow,
do.
I'll shut up. That was my comment. So I don't know why
Okay.
that's in there. So
Well, we need to adjourn this meeting so that Steve can start on time. I think you can see the dates that we put in. It'd be nice to have had a chance to hear some partner updates, but obviously
There weren't any.
we spent the time well. Thank you everybody for participating today. Your contributions are much appreciated. Try to get your comments in as soon as they're convenient for you. Try not to wait till the last day, and thank you. Last
Sally,
comment.
Sally, do we need to close out? Do you need to close this meeting out and start a new
I
one?
sure will. Yep, let me
Okay, meeting is adjourned at 5 o'clock. We're going to end this meeting and then we'll start over.